Travel back in time with a trip inside the Iowa's News Now vault.
As the Delta Queen docked at the Hawthorne Street ramp, the big question was, how is the president going to kill 2 hours, since that's how long it would take to fill the boat's tanks with water? It took only minutes for the Floridores to do the Georgia polka. And seconds to give Carter a photograph of the Delta Queen. Carter's speech on energy took about 10 minutes.
My preference is, instead of importing a barrel of foreign oil, is to produce a barrel of gasohol in Iowa. I believe that's a better approach to our energy problem.
President Carter spent well over half an hour working the crowds that surrounded the ceremony site on Hawthorne Street. Following him was a rather frustrated National Press Corps.
He has gotten off the boat in almost every lock along this river from St. Paul. I think he's gotten off about 12 times so far, and he about says the same thing at every stop now. And we all have a sense of deja vu, or that we've seen some instant replay. And frankly, reporters are running out of things to say, too.
But Carter was nowhere near out of steam. The approximately 5,000 people stretched for about 4 blocks along rope barriers. Carter traveled the full length. With him part of the way was First Lady Rosalind. She wasn't tired out either.
Loved it, and having time to just leisurely see people. Sometimes in crowds you can't talk freely, but then when the big crowd is over, you can just leisurely talk with people and see what's on their minds, and that's so important to Jimmy and to me.
You've got a campaign coming up. Are you sort of looking forward to it now?
I love being out in the country. I love it.
To the tune of Gone with the Wind, Carter reboarded the Queen. The next stops, Bellevue, Clinton, Davenport, and all points south, where there seems to be a crowd. Art Hackett, Channel 2 News Watch, Dubuque.
Jimmy.
They come by the thousands, gathering at locks and docks on the Mississippi, standing for hours to catch a glimpse of their president. White House aides said the Davenport stop was the most elaborate yet, complete with Dixieland Band and hot air balloons. But it is the crowds Jimmy Carter seeks, often running over schedule to touch as many hands as he can. During his telephone talk show on KSTT Radio, Carter explained the urge.
It's very encouraging for a president to come to a place like Davenport and the Moline, the Quad City area, and have someone like you express your confidence in me. I thank you very much. I'll try to do you a good job.
The reception has been warm for the president, but some who have come to see him seem to be more curious than supportive. You vote for Carter next year?
I have my doubts.
Is that right? What is it that you don't like?
Well, our inflation has got away from us.
And so the crowd in Davenport was friendly, but like most crowds on this trip, friendly with reservations. At one point, the president picked up a 2-year-old girl and kissed her. Her father asked a news photographer for a copy of the photograph. Will he vote for the president next year? The father said it's doubtful. Alan Cox, Channel 2 News Watch, Davenport.
It's billed as a working vacation, but it looks a lot like a river version of the old Whistle Stop campaign. Plenty of handshakes and speeches promoting Carter programs and Carter himself. But if it's intended to raise Carter's sagging popularity and head off a possible Kennedy run for president, this man, Doug Mattson, says it probably won't work. Mattson, a political science professor who studies public opinion and voting behavior, says the trip reinforces the public's image of Mr. Carter without answering public criticism.
Qualities that are most highly regarded by the public. That is, being a decent, pleasant, relaxed, easygoing fellow who one can enjoy and can like. What will not come out of it is the image of being decisive and being somehow able to deal with problems which may be insoluble.
In Mattson's view, every presidential action has some political and popularity implications, and in this case, the trip at least gives the president a break from close reporter scrutiny, reinforcing his nice guy image.
To be critical of this sort of thing would seem to me to be nitpicking. You would have to look for things to say something unkind about or to say something critical about.
The favorable image of Mr. Carter that the trip seems sure to generate may be helpful for now, according to Mattson, but he expects that image to fade quickly this fall when Congress reconvenes and the old issues again come into focus. Mark Cooper, Channel 2 News Watch, Cedar Rapids.
This morning, it was Burlington's turn to gather by the river. Mr. Carter offered his usual brief convocation to the crowd, which numbered about 5,000. About as many were gathered in and near a park where the president held his first outdoor town meeting. The first question from an Illinois seed corn salesman: would farmers have enough fuel for harvest, and would it be cheaper fuel?
That there will be enough fuel if American people, including farmers, are careful about how much you use, don't waste fuel, and if we have a success in the Congress in getting our energy program through. My guess is that both these questions will be answered yes.
But Carter warned that the price of fuel will not go down. Question: what is the government doing to encourage gasohol production? Carter mentioned proposals to give more tax breaks.
My administration will support this move, and I believe that Congress this year, before it goes home, will have low-interest, direct loans for people who will put in small gasohol producing plants on farms in Iowa.
One of the phrases that cropped up again and again in the president's answers was, "I won't mislead you," an indication Mr. Carter knew the answers were not exactly what the listeners would want to hear. But at the end, he repeated the phrase that has become the theme of this cruise through America's heartland, that with the proper faith in America's greatness, the country will pull through. Alan Cox, Channel 2 News Watch, Burlington.